Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah Almighty, the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum, my all dearest and beloved SMPNs of Campus 5. Good morning, guys. How are you all doing, my little champions? I hope you all are fit and fine, safe and sound at your homes. Guys, our dreams can come true if we have courage to pursue them. So keep trying, keep doing good. Okay? Beloved champs in my English class. And my name is Musarat and I am your English teacher for grade 5. So let's see today what we are going to do. Yes, today this is going to be our English literature class. It means we are going to read lesson as we have read so many lessons in midterm. Now this is going to be final term and we are reading our first lesson of final term, that is little short short. So start reading. Are going to read the lesson little short short. Can I ask you that who was the little short short? Yes. Little short short was a girl named Annie Oakley, and she got a title of little short short in order to show the shooting skills on the behalf of her God gifted skills of shooting, right? So let's have a pictorial preview, right? So first of all, see the picture of Oakley children. Oakley children were thin and shabby. They looked thin and shabby. Why? Because they were very poor and they never had enough to eat. So, they always had to wait for their dinner, supper, and breakfast. One day, the youngest boy was wailing due to hunger because he wanted some food. So the eldest girl went out into the forest to take some nuts and berries. But one of them, Annie Oakley, thought something, and she dragged the fire rifle of her father that was old and clumsy, and she got outside. All the siblings followed her. When she got outside, she saw a quail running above the ground. She shot aimlessly, and the quail was dead. And on that night, they had a lavish dinner. Some quails and nuts, juicy nuts, and berries. So they enjoyed. But very next day, they did not have any scrap of food as usual. So they requested Annie to do some shoot. Again, Annie shot some wood pigeons. And from that day, she started shooting. Actually, she started feeding her siblings. One day, when she was sitting on a log near her cabin, her brother was running towards her and he knelt down in front of her. Actually, he informed her that a shooting contest held in her was going to held in the village, and he encouraged Annie to take part in that contest. Okay. Annie's brother told her further that some people came from Wild West show who were Buffalo Bill and Frank Butler, and they announced and they offered $100 to anyone who can beat Frank Butler. He was been all over America. So Annie agreed to take participate in that contest because she knew that she would be given $100 that were too much at that time. So when the day of the contest came and he went to the village, there were flags, buntings, and a showman who did a great deal of shouting. Actually, he was offering, he was challenging anyone else who likes to come, $100 for anyone who can beat the finest shot in America. In the middle of the crowd, Frank Butler strode, wearing Wild West hat and buckskin. He was standing in a crowd. So Annie decided to shoot, but not that time. She let the men go first. There were two men and they were trying, but three men had been beaten by Frank Butler. And at last, Annie came from the crowd and asked, "I can shoot." Everyone was surprised to see a little girl who was challenging Frank Butler. So that was amazing. So let's see quick preview of the lesson. We have the pictorial quick review. Now we are going to quick review. Oakley children were thin and shabby as they never had enough to eat. Their own father had died in a blizzard, and they have a stepfather who never did any effort for them. One day, a youngest child was wailing due to hunger. Then the eldest sister went out into the forest to take nuts and berries. Annie, one of them, thought she had to do something, and then she picked up her father's rifle and got outside. When she came out of the door, a quail was running above the ground. She shot aimlessly, and the quail was dead. And then she started feeding her siblings at the age of 8 by shooting, and she realized her God gifted skills. Now she grew up. She wanted to do something. One day, her brother informed her about a shooting contest in their village and encouraged Annie to take part. Annie agreed and reached there. Okay? Guys, here are some new words and their meanings that you will see on the pages while reading. Strode walked with long, decisive steps in a specified direction as Frank Butler strode in a big crowd. Stand proudly, walked with long steps, with proud. Swaggering, walking or behaving in a very confident and arrogant or self-important way. Swaggering. Graciously, in a courteous, kind and pleasant manner. She gave me the book graciously. She asked me to come at her homes graciously. Annoyed, slightly angry, irritated. She annoyed me to say you are fool. Blizzard, severe snowstorm. In blizzard, their own father, Oakley children's own father, had died, right? Guys, this is an interesting slide that I like most. 3 wishes of Annie Oakley. As you know, guys, Annie Oakley was a small girl and she was very poor. She belonged a poor family that never had enough to eat. So how could she had dresses or money or any enjoyment? So she had 3 wishes. that she thought about all the time sitting alone. So the wish number 1 is to have beautiful clothes and lots of money. Okay. The second wish is to see big towns of America. And the last third wish was to travel all over the world. The 3 innocent wishes of Annie Oakley. Annie Oakley
So guys,
biography,
you can see
say,
the picture of
famous
Annie
as
Oakley.
sharpshooter,
I told you people
born
that
on August 13,
Annie
1860,
Oakley is
died
the
on
main
November
character
3,
of the story Little
1926,
Short Short.
and
And this
she
story is
was
based
born
on
in
a true
United States
story.
of America,
Annie
died
Oakley was
at the
famous
age of
as
66.
sharpshooter
She
in
told,
all
when a
over
man hits a
America.
target, they call
And
him a marksman.
when she
When I
was
hit a
at the
target,
age
they
of
call it a
9,
trick.
she got a
Never did
title of
like that
Little
much.
Short
Because
Short.
she was a
She was
woman,
born
that's
on
why
August
people
13,
used to
1860
say like
and
that.
died on November 3, 1926. She belonged a very poor family, Oakley family, and she struggled for her siblings for the sake of their hunger. So she had a God gifted skills of shooting. She told, when a man hits a target, they call him a marksman. When I hit a target, they all it a trick. They call it a trick. Never did like that much by Annie Oakley. Okay?
After
So
becoming
guys, here is a
popular,
picture
Annie
of
Oakley
Frank
and
Butler and
Frank
Annie
Butler,
Oakley
the
when
member
she
of the
joined Wild
Wild
West show.
West show
And you
in
can see the
America.
picture of Frank Butler that he had a swaggering personality and always wear buckskin dress and Wild West hat. So he was very proud because he was the finest shot of America.
So guys, it's time for reading, the main object of this lecture. So please take out your reader, that is wide range, and open page number 103. Okay? So please take out, put your finger on the line. I am reading. Targets went whizzing through the air in the distance. Annie cocked her gun carelessly and shot. Frank shot, Annie shot, Frank shot, Annie shot. Frank began to look surprised, and murmurs of praise rose from the crowd. Guys, you know very well that Annie accepted the challenge against Frank Butler. So, when she started shooting, one time she shot and the another time Frank Butler shot. So she shot and he shot, and finally Frank was shocked or surprised to see her shooting skills. And from the crowd, people were talking about the girl, the small girl, and they were praising her. So, Frank shot, Annie shot, Frank shot, Annie shot, Frank shot, Annie shot. The showman began to frown. He had an awful feeling that the famous champion was going to be beaten. The showman, who was praising loudly, and he had a great deal of shouting to announce Frank Butler, and he was uh, praising loudly that Frank Butler was the finest shot. And when he watched that a small girl was beating Frank Butler, so he had awful feeling, painful feeling, and began to frown. Wrinkle appeared on his forehead. Frank shot, Annie shot, Frank shot, Annie shot. Frank could hardly believe it. He had beaten all the finest shots in America, but now in this thin, shabby girl from the backwoods he had met his match. He shot again, and he shot. She was calm enough. Frank was very much shocked or surprised, and he realized that a little thin and shabby poor girl from the backwoods, not from the big towns or big village, and she was going to beat him, the finest shot of America. Annie was quiet over there. Frank shot, Annie shot, Frank. Oh, a cry went up from the crowd. Frank had missed. Annie's brother and sister uncrossed their fingers and yelled with delight. $100! Annie had beaten Frank Butler of all people, but Annie just stood staring at the great champion in his smart white buckskins and his wild west hat, and she looked as dazed as she felt. Actually, that was not a matter of $100. Actually, that was a big amount for the poor family. So, the sisters and brothers of Annie were very much excited and delighted because they got now $100. But Annie was quite calm and standing quietly, and just she was gazing the personality Frank Butler, who was wearing white buckskin and wild west hat. Then, before the afternoon was over, something even more surprising happened. She was asked to join the Wild West shot. After winning from the contest and after winning the contest against Frank Butler, something was going to be happen surprisingly, and that would be very much strange for little girl. What? Please turn on the page number 104. It's going to be very interesting, guys. So Annie was asked to join Wild West show, means Frank Butler offered her to join Wild West show, where the finest shot were in that show, to do a shooting act with Frank Butler. That was a great dealing among between them, Frank Butler and Annie. You the best woman shot, I the best man. Both of us would stage a pretty good act between us. Who was telling this? The speaker was Frank Butler. He was praising Annie that you the best woman shot. We would travel all over America doing it, and maybe if it goes down well, we will do a world tour. And the wishes of Annie was going to be true. And he offered that if you will or you would join my show, The Wild West, we would go all over America and then all over the world. A shooting ad with Frank Butler, gasped Annie. Annie shouted with surprise or happiness. All over America? A what tour? Surely she must be dreaming. Surely it couldn't be true. But it was true all right. And a few days later, when Frank Butler and the showman went back to join their show again, Annie went with them. And the people gave show again. Annie went with them, and the show people gave Annie a new name. They called her Little Short. Short means she was awarded by the people who watched their show. The new life was very different from the old, and Annie was as happy as could be. She traveled for days over farmland and rolling prairies. She did her shooting act in villages and towns and cities. Everyone liked her. Everyone in America wanted to see her act, for her act was wonderful.
dressed in fine yellow buckskins and a wild west hat, Annie would shoot. She would shoot at a target thrown into the air. She would roll a tin can along the ground. So, guys, that was amazing for Annie. That while she was dreaming, maybe true or maybe false, but that was true when Frank Butler offered her to to do shooting act. So the life of Annie became changed. Now she traveled for days and she was going with them and she showed her shooting skills and everyone was praising her. Now she dressed in fine yellow buckskins. The wish of having fine clothes or beautiful clothes came true at that time, and she was very much happy as she could be. Okay, actually, Annie had God gifted shooting skills. She never gone anywhere. She did not take any training of shooting, but that was God gifted skills. So she always shoot very nicely, greatly. She would roll a tin can along the ground with a shower of bullets. She would shoot a ball as Frank whirled it round his head. She would shoot a playing card which he held up for her. There was the skills. There were she had done in the front of crowd in order to take appreciation. So when Frank Butler held up a playing card for her, but she would not shoot through the middle. She did not shoot at the middle of the playing card, but she would do a playing card. She sliced it down the thin edge and made it into two. Means she shot at the edge of the playing card, not in the middle. And after shooting, the card divided into two parts. The card was divided. So that was her great skill. Okay, let's have a review of the lesson. When Annie reached there, she was slightly nervous actually, but her siblings encouraged her. And finally, she announced to the big crowd to do shooting act against Frank Butler. Announced in the big crowd, sorry. He shot, she shot. Who was he? Frank Butler. And at last, Annie had beaten Frank. Everyone was shocked. Everyone was praising her. Later, Annie was asked to join the Wild West show by Frank. And from there, and from that day, Annie's life had been changed. She would got the chance of traveling all over the world by joining Frank. So she joined the show and became popular in no time. So, guys, thank you so much for being with me once again. And please write in comments box how was the lecture. So, I am looking forward to your concern. Okay? Nowadays, to wear your mask or wearing mask is very important and necessary. Why? Because you may be safe and sound and you will be protected against COVID-19 pandemic. So avoid going outside unnecessarily. If you have to go outside, so please wear your mask properly. Okay? That is my suggestion. So guys, Take care yourself. Stay happy and healthy. Allah Hafiz. Bye bye.